Hey, happy Thursday to you. Hope you're doing well. We're in the book of James and we are talking about beware of impatience. Trials, tribulations, they show up, but we got to be able to prosper through them and come out stronger on the other side. Your trials do not have to be your demise. Your trials can be developing you to be the person you want to be. Your trials don't have to make you bitter. Your trials can make you better. Last time we talked about when I deal with trials, I need to ask for patience. Today, we're talking about a little bit different of a thing. Abandon grudging. Don't be holding grudges during these times. Let them go. Let me read to you James 5 and verse number 9. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth at the door. Woo! Tough words there from the Lord. A couple things we see under this idea of abandoning grudging. We need to know that this is a freeing command, and we need to remember that there is a family connection. And with this family connection, there needs to be fierce conviction on how we handle one another because we need to be reminded of the Father's closeness. We need to abandon grudging. Do you hold grudges? Are you the type of person that is prone to do that? Maybe somebody says something or somebody does something that bothers you and you are still holding on to it weeks, months, even years later. I think sometimes we as people, we have little prisons in our minds where we lock people up and we go in every once in a while to this prison of our mind where there that person is, and we abuse them, we torture them, we tell them what we want to say, and we get so frustrated and so off course because we sometimes hold grudges that don't need to be held. It's a very important thing, especially among family members in the family of God. We need to be forgiving and let go of grudges. This is a freeing command. Grudge not one against another. The Greek word here, underneath the English word grudge, means to be in straits, to sigh, to have grief, or to groan. When you see somebody, or somebody makes a comment about so-and-so to you, there could be grudging. And that doesn't need to be, especially within the family of God. Paul said in 2 Corinthians 5:2, "For in this we groan." Yeah, there's that word. Earnestly desire to be clothed upon with our house, which is from heaven. Now he's groaning for something good. He's grudging, if you will, for something eternal in his life. He is groaning to be able to go to heaven with God. See, when we groan, we don't groan about stuff like that. We groan about, yeah, there they are. Boy, I can't believe, you don't believe what they said about me. I can't stand them. There they are. Shouldn't be this way. You are commanded, grudge not one against another. Now, there are all sorts of groanings, as we can see. There is patient groaning and there is impatient groaning. Patient groaning is when we groan or grudge to be with God because of trials. It's okay to groan to get through and to be closer and to get it over with. But the impatient groaning is when we groan or grudge towards others because of trials. Wrong attitude. This is a freeing command. And we also have to remember again the family connection, because if you look at verse number 9, grudge not one against another, important word, brethren. Christians ought not do this amongst themselves. When we have a grudge against another person, we allow ourselves to be hoodwinked, all right, by Satan. And we allow ourselves to be tricked into that person is the problem. It's not true. That person is not the problem. God is behind the scene. This goes back to last week. Perception. God is behind the scenes doing things and working things, and we need to make sure that we have the proper perspective. Our battle is not against another human. In fact, Paul says we don't war against flesh and blood. We war against principalities and powers. My battle is not with another human. My battle is a spiritual battle. And if you think, oh yeah, my battle's with that person, you are wrong. because this goes right against it. You're not supposed to grudge against your family. You're not supposed to grudge against other Christians. You're supposed to be willing to forgive. And if you are, you're doing it wrong. Your focus is off. You are being hoodwinked. The family connection. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. There's the tough one. And he gives the warning. He gives the punishment, condemnation. This is the fierce conviction. The word condemn means to be judged, to be sentenced. What am I saying? God sees grudging and he says, you ought not do it. And if you do it, you know what God's going to do? I mean, this is simple. You do something bad, do you get a reward for it? No, we have children. If my children are acting up, I'm not going to give them a cookie for it. Okay? And why should we expect God to be the same way? Well, I know I told you not to grudge and not to harbor bitterness against people, but you're doing it. But here's a cookie anyway. Now don't do that. No, he says you will be judged. You will be condemned. It will come back around to you. You will push this upon yourself. You will reap what you sow. You condemn other people. You grudge against other people. God's going to hold a grudge against you and you're going to be dealt with. That's not where we need to be. Okay, this is a big deal. Our actions matter. And people are watching us. Okay? Some of the people who hold grudges, their kids watch them. And guess what? Later on, their kids hold grudges against them. And they wonder, what happened? We hold grudges against our brothers or sisters. And then later on, they hold grudges against us. Well, where did that come from? There is a conviction that comes along with this. And you need to be reminded of the Father's closeness. Behold, the judge standeth at the door. God is watching you. God sees you. You don't have to say it. He can read your mind. Listen, we need to make an important thing. We get hurt by people. We hurt one another. I'm not going to negate that. And people do bad stuff to us. We try to help people, and sometimes we get stabbed in the back for doing it. I understand that. People have done awful things to other people. I get it. But what's the point of you being miserable and holding this person in the cage of your heart and going in there every time you hear their name, every time you remember them, and going in there and, yeah, well, this is what I should have said, this is what I should have did. What kind of person does that make you? God sees. God doesn't want you to be like that. Let it go. Ask God to help you. Lord, I got some grudges. I need to let them go because it's making me into the person I don't want to be. And it's making God look at me like, what do I have to do to get your attention? What do I have to do to let you know that this is a big deal? Matters of the heart are huge to God. So, is there anybody that's in that cage that you need to let go? Ask God to do it. And I'll say this, you may let them out on Tuesday or Thursday, and you may say, boy, I put them back in there on Friday. Let them out again. Sometimes forgiveness, which we get from God, is something that has to be consistent, and we have to keep asking so we can have the healing that we need. Abandoning grudging. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.